Genie grind and watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucker gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are starting off this What If with Deku entering into UA with everyone that he had shared his memories with, that he had become friends with, and family. Even Bakugo. I mean, sure, they still had their rivalry, but that only made them closer in some ways. Even Todoroki had become friends with him in this timeline. Everybody was a closer unit. They worked better in team comps. And also, in the villain to hero conflict, Deku and Bakugo had settled their differences and become acquaintances, not frenemies. Finally, he could stare him in the eyes and not be punched. Quite the progression for him. However, all this happy time, all of this peacefulness was cut short, and quite quickly, trust me. As Kyogiri enters through a portal, as Tomura follows shortly behind. Anomu huddles his head through it, barely squeezing himself out, and then the rest all come flooding out through the gate. The villains, mockery, and giggles arise among the crowd as they're all excited for this. They've been planning this for so long. Can't you see, Deku? And your 1A classroom. You will die. All of you will. As this time, they're not after All for One. They're after something that's a little bit more of an investment, you could say. As Deku says, what could that be? Who is he talking about? As then he turns around to tell Ida to run, but then, before Ida can even start running, the freaking portal comes under them. However, Deku pushes Ida instead, as Ida quickly makes his way to the quickest hero that he can find. They're all sent, instead of to different parts, they're sent into one. They're all sent into the water, as the gigantic yacht that was able to hold almost 40 people was then showered with students from 1A. People like Momo had slid off the side and into the water, as freaking all of the villains start crowding around. Tomura holds up his hand. One of the villains comes forward, a spiky-haired man, almost looking like Bakugo, puts his hands to the ground and says, "Hell Zone," as then colanders of flame rise up from the ground around it, burning the hands of the tape guy as he slowly sinks into the bottom. Mineta actually goes in and saves him and brings him to the surface. Bakugo tries to explode his way over it. However, Deku grabs onto his ankle and pulls him back down. He says, "Stop it, you idiot! There's a better way to do this. Let me handle it." As then he jumps up into the air and then shoots with his finger and spread into the water, shooting water all onto the colanders and actually causing a tornado in the water, killing some of the heroes the villains that were inside of the water unknowingly. But then Kyogiri points up as Tomura says, "Ah, yes, that's him." He points to him as Kyogiri, puts a portal and takes Deku straight onto their feet. As Deku realizes where he is and falls down to the ground, he looks up swiftly, trying to ready himself again. However, is cornered by the Nomu and also Kirigiri. Kirigiri says, Kid. I teleported you here for one simple reason. Tomura finishes his sentence. We'll be taking you from here on out. You'll be joining us as a new member of our League of Villains. As he says, why would I join all of you? Why? Because we'll kill all of your friends if you don't. As he's like, shit, that's a good reason. As he turns around and sees all of his friends stuck on the yacht that is currently being ripped through by the Nomu. As the Nomu sends out shockwaves with its bare fists. He's not even on the ship. He's just exploding it with his bare fists. Every single time he throws one punch, just the air particles around it destroys half of the ship, killing some of the students on it. As he sees Mineta fly out of it, getting harshly scarred by that and thrown into the villains, as he's most likely being killed by the villains right now. He can't watch this as he turns around. However, Tomura opens up, puts his fingers around his eyes and holds his face in place. As, quirk dampening cuffs are placed around Deku's arms. He says, you bastards! How can you do this? Until you say that you'll join us, I see no reason to stop. Continue. As the hits go off in succession, killing some of the ship still. However, Bakugo and Todoroki cannot wait anymore as they jump off the ship, exploding onto the land and killing some of the villains, wiping out a lot of the squads. As Bakugo, I mean, he would immediately charge in. However, if Todoroki didn't already, he says, "How dare you kill my friends!" Todoroki has made a lot of progression and almost touches Deku's heart. After all, he would never say that to their faces. However, he just gets his ice flicked away by the Nomu, and then the Nomu is teleported straight in front of him as he grabs onto Todoroki's neck. As Todoroki starts to get choked, like the life out of him, as it starts to squeeze really hard. Todoroki's getting the life squeezed out of him as he turns fire onto his body, burning off the hand of the Nomu. However, it keeps on regenerating faster than his fire because he had never trained with the fire. It wasn't strong. So he says, "Fine then, take all of it." As then with both sides, he causes a gigantic icicle to just ricochet through the body of him and also incinerate him on the other side. And yet it continued to choke him, cracking his neck to the left. But that didn't stop Deku from hearing the words that he'd said before. I just wanted to live. As he floats away into the afterlife. Deku, enraged by this, tries to activate his quirk as all of the people that he sees in All For One are all telling him to activate his quirk. However, this dampener, it stops him from doing it as he's kicked around by Tomura for fun. As Tomura says, "What about it now, hero? Come on." Bakugo charges forward says, "You bastards! You will all pay!" As he starts basically a duel with the Nomu. However, is cut short by Tomura putting his hand on the back of Bakugo, slowly getting rid of his left side, stopping him from using half of his quirk, and then is beaten down to the ground by the Nomu right in front of Deku. I mean, it stomps its foot on the left side of him that's slowly disintegrating away and peeling away his body parts like it was tape. He just disintegrates slowly and surely. They have their fun picking apart all of the heroes, all of his friends that he had taken so much time to help, so much time to become, well, everything to them. He'd want to be the hero that they could look upon, not this loser that was taken prisoner. He wouldn't allow himself to become prisoner. No! No, never! Bakugo says, he whispers even, for his life is draining fast. I just wanted to become the top 1 hero. That's all I wanted. God. Shit. Is the Royal Bakugo crying? Shut up, shut up, shut up! As then he explodes his whole body around him, covering everybody with dirt, and exploding half of the arena, destroying half of the building as all of it starts to collapse. Deku is shot halfway across the stadium, just as much as the shockwave have gone, smashing him straight into the wall. As some debris is also lodged into his left stomach, causing internal bleeding and also to wet his clothes. He could barely feel that side of his body anymore, as he started to get dizzy from seeing the blood. However, all he knew was to survive now. All they wanted was him. If he just let himself get captured. If only. Everything was dust. Debris fell everywhere as the whole place was destroyed. That must have been a suicidal bomb by Bakugo to kill both sides. Until wings come down from the sky. Hawks! My God, you're here! Deku holds on to his left arm as it feels numb. He can barely even feel it anymore. He looks up to Hawks as he says, "You're here, our hero! The villains, they're over there! Under the rubble. If you act fast, you can..." Oh. Wow. Bakugo really did a number, didn't he? Yes, I guess so, but... Wait. Hawks, how did you get here so fast? What do you mean? I'm just here to support. No one told me anything. Come on. Hop on my back. I'll take you to the back to UA, as he says, but you're a hero. You're supposed to help the people. You're supposed to defeat the villains. Yeah, kid, well, you're more important right now. Just like the villains would say. Hawks just says, "Come on, kid. Don't make this any harder." No, why not you too? Fine then. You want to do this the hard way? I was trying to be nice. As he says, he lifts himself up into the air, spinning around in a circle, releasing his metal, what was it again? His metal wings and feathers all around, cascading all across the places, crashing all the buildings around him and killing some people. In the process, he says, "You can call me Nightwing now," as he sheds all of that to reveal black feathers, wings of a raven. As he charges at Deku throughout the streets, his metal thing had jabbed straight into Deku's left arm and had barely missed his left eye, too, and had speared straight into a lady just next to him. She bled from the heart as she was immediately killed and slooped down, lifeless, hanging on to that little bit of life. She looked up to see Deku for his last time. The least he could give her was some sort of half-assed smile, something of correlation. All of the All For One users wanted so badly to break these cuffs, so badly to help him, and yet they were powerless. They were broken. He smiles one last time for her, this girl he had barely even met, as he touches his forehead to hers. They were both speared on the same, wing bolt. some life edging from his head to hers. This girl, she had ponytails and vampire teeth. She looked cute and was readily working this donuttery. She seemed short, however feisty. He doesn't know why, but he was automatically attracted by her smile that she was wearing before this. Such an unnatural, such almost fake, and yet not. She wakes as one of her eyes sloops up, the other one dragging behind as she looks dead into Deku's. She says, I'm alive? As he starts to pull the wing out slowly. Hawks had made his way across the town, destroying building after building, searching for Deku. He had thought Deku had ran. However, Deku was just standing there, waiting for his death that had not come. He slowly takes it away out of her chest from the wall. He says, I don't know how, but I think I revived you. She falls down straight into his arms as she says, I don't think I can fully move yet. He says, that's fine. We just need you to get better now, please. You're the only person in my life now. As she says, oh, clingy. As he says, yeah, I'm clingy. So what? Please, we need to go, okay? This is no time to make jokes. Au contraire, this is plenty of the time to make jokes. Times that are as desperate as these. There's times where death is there in the air. As he says, this isn't your first time, is it? As they're continuously running right now throughout the buildings, trying to find some place of security until everything dies down. She introduces herself as she rolls him over into a sort of sexual position, trying to cover him from being seen by the all-watching eyes of Dark Knight. By Crow. What was his villain name? I already forgot it. Let's just call him Crow. She says, she's quite useful in these times too. She hasn't been through too many of these, luckily. But you might just turn that around. Thank you for saving me, by the way. As he says, no worries. He pushes her over and realizes that, Crow's gone. There's no need for them to be hugging right now. He continues on his way back to UA, trying to scavenge what he could as he continuously moves throughout the rubble as he says, no. It's all gone. Everybody's dead. She says, you still have me. He says, yes, but God damn it. He sheds a tear for every single person that had died. All of his friends. He sticks his hand into the rubble and pulls out the scarf that Aizawa had worn. It was blood-tattered, old and worn, and yet it seemed to fit him perfectly, uncannily. He looks back to Toga after equipping it. His eyes shine red, one of them bloodied from the battle. The other had been scarred, and he could barely look out of it from that bolt that had shot straight past him and gone into her heart. She says that, well, is there anybody that you miss especially? As he starts to bawl his eyes out, and he says, well, there was a girl. She says, a girl now? Is that so? Who? Define her for me. They start hanging out in the underground. Deku doesn't want to face everybody else once more. The press and everybody else just scavenges over the bodies, just tallying it up and just putting Deku back up on there, just as missing as most of them are. Deku spends quite a lot of time with this girl. He asks her name and she says, it's Toga. Now define her for me, please. He says, well, it was this girl that tried to save me. She tried to pick the lock of the quirk dampener that still seems to. I can't get it off just yet. As he goes throughout when they're going throughout the underground, trying to find different ways to take it off, unhinging it with a crowbar, smashing it with a train, doing whatever they can, trying their best, but they can never find a way. Deku almost gives up on trying to find it, and just tells her of the woman he means. Her name was Momo. She had black, long hair. Facial features like she was almost 20, and yet she was only 15. Quite an incredible woman. She had a stern pride and constitution not of her age. He actually, idolized her. And Toga reminds him of her, as she slowly shifts back her hair as that starts to change, and then puts her hand over her face as she slowly changes into a slightly botched version of Momo. Deku starts to cry as he says, "That's exactly her! My God! Is that your quirk?" As he gets excited and picks up Toga's hand, saying, "That's amazing! How are you able to do that?" She says, "Well, it's not a perfect exact one. I need their blood for that. I got a little bit of that from the wreck, from the dead bodies, but it's not like I keep it around or anything. I'm not a freak." As she hides the vials behind her back, Deku says, "That's just absolutely incredible. You have a pure talent." She says, "Thanks. What about yours?" "What?" "Your quirk. What had happened?" "I would love to see it. Come on, show me." As he says, it's dampened. You can at least use a little bit of it." They've left. Who's left? All of them. Everyone that commanded my quirk. All the previous users. Toga looks confused as his eyes grow weary. It's almost like he's seeing what they see. It's like their intelligence, all of their bodily features, he can see them all, and yet they're gone. They've left their thrones upon that which all for one for all had been blessed. He was alone now, with no one by his side except Toga. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be sure to do a second part if this gets to 1,000. Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.